So I have in my notes that I don't know what it means, but I think it's from the scene. I just wrote down, "Whoa, that was a weird thing that happened to his eye," but I can't remember what it meant.
Hey, it's your guy Ren. Welcome to Cinema Slime, the podcast for film lovers who can't stop talking about the movies that move us, confuse us, or just make us want to yell at the screen. I'm joined, as always, by my brilliant co-hosts Harrison and Scott. Let's go.
Yeah, just don't have any remorse for the bad choices you make. It's so much easier to live your life that way.
Exactly. You know what? What was it? That's a quote from Family Guy. Peter goes to a party and he's like, "Ah, man, I feel bad. I told Lois I wouldn't drink at the stag party." And then Quagmire goes, "Oh, don't
Yeah.
worry about it, Peter." And he goes, "Oh, I never thought of it that way." Yeah, don't feel bad, Peter. Oh, I never thought of it that way.
That's awesome. That sounds like early Family Guy.
Literally episode 1, actually.
Yeah.
So-
Okay, sounds familiar.
That one got me. I think about that one like probably every other week. I think of that line, and I'm just like, it's pretty funny.
Sage
Makes me chuckle.
wisdom.
I feel
Yeah.
like somehow Family Guy has managed to become one of the most almost just like important pieces of comedy in history. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so quality.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I enjoy it very thoroughly. It's my throw it on while I fold laundry and like do the dishes and just do stuff around the house kind of a show where it's like I don't really need to watch it, but I still listen to it. I can still listen to it and still laugh all the time because I find it very funny.
That's hilarious.
One of my favorite jokes was it's like it's like the time or like the first time I farted, whatever, and then he
Oh yeah.
goes to the past and he's just like sitting there.
What the hell was that?
What the heck's that? I think about that all the time. Basically, anytime anyone ever farts, I'm like, what the heck was that?
So simple,
first-
but it's
His
just
first
so
fart was
true.
at like age 28 or something.
Yeah, he's sitting on like a beanbag in like the 70s or something.
That's awesome.
Oh man, I do have some movie reports though. I can give you guys.
Oh, me too. You go first.
So, me and Nicole went and saw The Roses in the theater, and it's kind of tough to talk about without giving stuff away. So I'm going to try and simplify it. But Scott, you and I were actually talking about this with Cam, and we were talking about how sometimes when you're reading a book, and like there's this suspenseful part, but you're like, well, there's still like 20 chapters, so like
Yeah.
kind of the meta of that. This movie pushes it to the very edge where it's like there's a certain event that's supposed to happen and it doesn't happen, and like you keep waiting for it to happen, and then you hit like the 80% of the movie mark and you're like, hold on, how is this not resolved yet? And then it gets to the 90% through the movie and it's still not resolved, and you're just like panicking the last like 20 minutes. You're just like panicking the whole time because you're like, X, Y, and Z is supposed to happen and it's not happening. So I had a lot of fun. Nicole absolutely hated it. Like the ending kind of ruined the whole movie for her, but I had a good time.
I've only ever experienced that in a movie when they pulled a switcheroo and I didn't know that it was a part 1 of part 2.
Oh, there you go.
And then it's like, wait, oh, I see. So we just got to the midpoint. All
Oh
right.
wait, are you
All
talking about the second Spider-Verse movie? Because that's what that did it to me.
You know, I did feel it in the second Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most recent one I felt it in. I was thinking of a Marvel movie. I think probably one of the Thanos movies.
Yeah.
Second to last one, probably. I don't know. Anyway, one of them, I was just like absolutely waiting for an end to happen, and then it absolutely did not end. I know a lot of people did that with the first Lord of the Rings. They, had no idea that it was a book and all that kind of stuff beforehand, and it was part of a like classic trilogy. And the book ends as much of a cliffhanger as the movie does, and it's not a good cliffhanger. It's just like dun, 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 dun.
It's true. Man, I gotta watch those again.
But yeah, I just remember like I think it was my sister-in-law was just like, what? What is happening? Like, where's the rest of this movie? We've already been here 3 hours.
And you're just like, oh, there's so much more. Like,
Oh, hun, you have no idea.
yeah. The other movies I watched, have you guys ever watched the Addams Family movies from the 90s?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So that's one of Nicole's favorite movies, and we finally sat down and watched it. We finished watching the second season of Wednesday, which was fine. The second season was fine. The first season was really dang good, and Jenna Ortega is an incredible Wednesday. But second season was a little iffy. But Nicole was like, no, we're gonna sit down and watch the '90s movie because then you're gonna understand how I view all of this and all the characters. So yeah, so we sat down and watched those movies, and I'm pretty sure Angelica Houston as Morticia is like my new queen of my whole world because she is so good. I mean it. I don't think I've ever seen a performance from an actress that literally it feels like she's reaching through the screen, grabbing your face, and is like, "You're gonna pay attention to me the whole time." Like she's so good at it. And the part that I really love is in every scene she's like slightly in the shadows, and they have a spotlight just across her eyes.
Yeah.
It's just really illuminating her eyes and her whole look about her. And the humor in the movies are just so funny. Just all this like morbid comments. Like my favorite one is like Gomez. He's just like torturing himself over. He's just like, oh, my brother Fester. Like, why did he leave me? And he's like worrying about something. And Morticia just goes like, honey, stop torturing yourself. That's my job. It just really tickles me, and it's just really funny to me. But yeah,
I mean, there's a lot to love about, especially the first, but all of those movies. But I think the thing that like keeps it enduring to me is how much Gomez and Morticia just absolutely fawn over each other the whole movie.
yes,
And it's like uncomfortable PDA level of just like they're newlyweds still, but they're like morbid, dark,
oh yeah,
dead people. You know, like but like anyway, I love it. It was a really good take.
No, yeah. One of my favorite moments in the '90s movie was there's like this big argument going on, and then someone mentions like, "Well, Fester was hiding away in the Bermuda Triangle," and all of a sudden Gomez goes, "Wait a minute, hold on a second," and he goes up to Morticia and is like, "Do you remember the Bermuda Triangle? Ah, Devil's Island, our second honeymoon," and they just get all like mushy with each other in the middle of this like big important fight scene, and you're just like, "Wait, what the heck?" I like that scene happened, and Jamie was watching it with us, and I just turned to him and I was like, "Hey, buddy, see those two? Those are two people who truly love each other, right there." And he was like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, no, great movies. I had a ton of fun watching them.
You watch anything cool?
No, me, absolutely
No?
not. I watched Frequency. I mean, it was a really good movie. I loved it. We should talk about it on the show
Okay.
sometime.
Well,
Yeah.
if we get around to it, maybe, you know.
How about today?
Yeah.
You guys want to do it today?
We'll think
Why
about
not?
it.
I mean, let's just drop whatever we were going to do and do Frequency instead, and the audience will never know.
Sounds good to
Precisely.
me.
But how about you, Ren?
I watched this really obscure film last night with my kids. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called K-pop Demon Hunters. It was
No.
it was insane. No, but I finally got around to watching it, and
Good.
it's funny because they started it, and like 15 minutes had gone by, and I walked in, and I was like, "Oh, I kind of want to watch this." They're like, "Sorry, we already started it," and I was like, "Can you rewind it?" And they're like, "No, I don't want to." Anyways, I convinced them because it seemed like if I didn't get it from the very beginning, I would be lost.
It's
Mhm.
kind of true.
You need that like 2 minute like quick rundown of the situation before you get into
Yeah,
it.
and I'm glad I did, but like,
But also, the first 15 minutes are the worst part of the movie.
yeah, and I didn't really need to, but I'm glad I did because I got what I wanted, and it just helped me set everything in the right order. And I gotta say, I think I laughed probably like 15 different times, got emotional at a few, like 2 or 3 times. It was just like a freaking roller coaster ride. It was so awesome, and I loved it.
I don't know if we should do an episode on it or not.
I think we should. I'm going to be honest.
I mean,
yes.
it's like obviously the animation's incredible. The music's just so high quality. I was just surprised at how it was like they rode the line up to this could be the stupidest movie you've ever seen, and then they never crossed it. They're just like all the way up to it. Every trope, every teenage heartthrob, capital D dark secret, dumb romance thing, and
Okay.
like my secrets and all that, your secrets.
Oh my
and
gosh.
You're the good guy, bad guy. I'm the good guy, bad guy. I was like, how did they fit everything in here and make it work?
I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
It's so good that I think it like AI made it. Like in my head, I'm like, how did they like every lyric,
Oh
every
my
song,
gosh.
every like just everything about the characters and their development and how individual the three pop stars are, and then the demon world, everything was so fleshed out. Like I mean, I've only seen it once, but I just
Yeah.
walked away like supremely impressed.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was
Oh.
expecting, but like I
Not that,
yeah,
because it
Yeah.
was so good.
because I mean, it was like you sit down and you start watching it, and you're like, okay, I'm watching this, and then it's like it goes down underground, and there's Chima and like the,
Yep.
you know, like the boy band thing drops, and you're like, oh, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie I'm watching.
Yeah.
And then she's a demon, and then like he's like a demon. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So the thing is this, I think the reason that the movie works so well is that when you go down to the demon world and he comes up and tells them the idea of like, oh, we're gonna be a boy band and we're gonna take their fans away. As soon as that idea drops, all of a sudden everybody in the audience just thinks, damn, that is a really good idea. Like it like actually makes sense, even though it sounds so ridiculous.
I was just gonna say my kids were like, they're like, wait, you like this? Like they were like surprised I was laughing at it. I was like, guys, I introduced you to anime. Like, come on,
It's
like
so fun.
yeah, like this is good. It's not, if it sucked, I wouldn't like it. Like what's the big deal?
It's like Sailor Moon: The Next Generation.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah.
So I got to tell you my experience with this film. We sat down to watch it for the very first time, and the main guy shows up. I can't remember his name at the moment. He's talking about his past and all this stuff, and I was sitting there and I looked over my wife and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what every woman wants. They want a sad, hot demon boy who you think you can fix and make him better. And she was like, she looked over at me and goes, finally you get it. That's what all we want. It was so funny, like just watch it, because my wife reads a ton of romance books. She loves that stuff, and I was watching this film and I was like, this is just a romance book without like the not safe for work portion of it. Like it's so good.
So you could just listen to the soundtrack to watch the movie.
No, honestly, like I blasted that thing all day at work one day. I was having the time of my life. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun. Oh, that song,
my son Cash is exactly like me, because like the songs will play and then Allie, my wife, she'll start singing along, and like his skin turns inside out. He's like so uncomfortable when other people sing, and I was like, yeah, I remember that era. Just embrace it.
When mom would sing all of her country songs in the car, and she would sing chess and like those she would sing country, and she would sing like Broadway musicals all the time.
Yeah, it was like
it's good times.
Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Wait, I know what you're talking about. The chess. Wait, hold on.
Yeah. One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster.
Yeah, it's Murray. Something Murray. Anyways, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Les Mis. Let's not forget
it's Hamilton now.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand that
Paige liked it too. Paige liked Rigoletto.
Rigoletto, yeah.
And Chess.
That one's up there.
Yeah.
I've listened to Chess so many times.
I mean, that song's really good. I don't know what any of it means, but I love it.
You have to watch the play.
Yeah, I know. I guess I need to.
Wait, you can't just listen to the music and understand everything, Scott? What?
She choreographed a dance to one of the songs from Chess, and not One Night at Bangkok.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That doesn't shock me at all.
I also watched Idiocracy the other night. It was pretty funny. Have you guys seen that?
No, I haven't.
That's why I don't wear Crocs.
Yes, exactly. I was telling the boys, I was like, look, they're wearing Crocs. This is a joke. And now you wear them. So Idiocracy is like hilariously prophetic. It's a funny movie. And then I wanted to watch all the Batman movies with my boys, so we started with Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Oh, by all the Batman movies, you mean?
I mean the newer ones, the Christian Bale version. Yeah.
All right, so you do like Christopher Nolan movies?
No, no. Actually, this reminded me. It brought me back to when I went to the movie theater when I first saw this, and I remember being like, I don't even remember the movie. It's just like a bunch of like
noise,
strings, and like half-second shots and pandering back and forth for 2.5 hours. So
it's true.
It actually reminded me. It was like it strengthened my. I don't dislike Nolan. He should like do it differently.
He should just be different than what he is.
I think
Hey,
Dunkirk
Nolan,
is unbelievable.
what you're doing right now, just do it differently.
Yeah.
Just change everything about it, please.
It's just,
You know, Batman Begins actually reminds me of like a Sloppy Joe, just totally different.
yeah.
Yeah, Oh man, I
Totally.
haven't had sloppy joes in a long time.
Just slapping that in. And then Elemental, which that was lame. That was a lame one.
Oh,
My
Disney
opinion.
Elemental.
Yeah, I did not care for it.
I've heard a couple good things about it, but I still haven't sat down to watch it yet. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
probably push it farther on the back burner now that you said that though. Were you guys traumatized by Batman Forever, the one with Penguin and Catwoman? By the way, because that one
Yeah,
really
that one's
wigged me out so much as a kid. Like if we ever do like childhood traumas as one of our
Okay, what scene
themes, that's
like
gonna be on
comes to
there.
mind?
When he bites his nose.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that one's definitely up there. His death when he like crawls out of there and he's like just like gushing blood out of his mouth. And
Yeah.
then when the cats are nibbling on Catwoman, like when she gets pushed out of the window and then she's laying in the snow and all these cats come up and start like biting her and like you see like her, them like piercing the skin on her finger and on her lip and I'm just like, oh,
Michelle Pfeiffer,
whew.
such a babe in that movie. I just remember being
Yeah.
like, Michelle Pfeiffer's the hottest woman on earth.
Yeah,
That's all there is to it.
pretty straightforward.
until you watch I don't know, Casper.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Oh my
Titanic,
gosh.
but yeah.
There you go.
It's Kate Winslet action.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Once in a decade, massive solar storms invade our atmosphere, disrupting global communications.
John, it's your dad's old ham radio. Let's go over to the den, huh? Plug it in.
And causing unexplained phenomenon.
W2QYV. This is Frank Sullivan.
Hello? What'd you say your name was?
Frank Sullivan.
Is this some kind of joke?
That will allow John Sullivan to talk to his father.
What do you say we tame this Bronco, huh? You and me, spirit and guts.
Who's been dead for 30 years.
But how could it be?
I don't know, but we gotta be talking off the mother-son spot of all time.
I've missed you so much.
Well, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your life. I'm a cop. You're third-generation firefighter. Come on, I thought you were gonna grow out of that cop phase.
What's going on, Satch?
Frank says that he's talking to Johnny on the radio in the future.
Now, hey, little chief, there's somebody I want you to talk to.
Good night, John.
Good night there, chief.
Quaid's got the best Queen's accent.
Dude, I don't know about that.
Hold it in.
Early 2000s trailers are the worst. They just tell you everything. You're like, well, why do I watch it now?
What's the point? So Ren, this was your film. You chose it for our time travel theme. Tell me about this. Tell me about this movie.
Well, I knew you were gonna put it on your list, so I had to snatch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
snatched it right away from me.
Yeah, well, some of my memories we probably share because I just this movie just appeared in our house and Dad loved it, so like he watched it often, and
It's true.
Yeah, I think in my mind I thought everyone had seen this, like just like it looks awesome, the poster's great, the story's really interesting, and it's about time travel, but apparently this is sort of considered an underrated movie because yes, it's a fine film, but like I guess it didn't do too well in the box office. So that was surprising to me, kind of revisiting, kind of learning about that because this movie's this is a high quality time travel movie. I don't know, time travel's been an interesting movie subject to kind of dive into because I think you kind of alluded to this, Scott, but like there are some great ones, but there's like a ton of stinkers as well. So I feel like this one just kind of gets overlooked for reasons that make zero sense to me. Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie. I watched it after about probably 15 years or so for the first time last year. And I watched it with the boys and it was just surreal, just kind of like reliving like that memory of your past, but like through your dad's eyes. But now I'm a dad, so I'm looking at it through my own eyes. And my kids were probably the same age or close to it that either myself or you watched it at. So it was just interesting, but they really liked it the first time. This time around, they were like, "We already watched this. I don't want to watch it, so I don't know how much of an impact it's gonna have." But I loved
So
it.
you kind of had a frequency moment, just like in the movie, you know,
Exactly.
looking
Yeah.
back on your kids while he's looking back.
25 years. Oh wait,
I
yeah, yeah.
knew it.
So
I knew it. No, no, yeah. Yeah, kind of the same thing along with you. I turned this film on and I watched it and I was just like, nostalgia is definitely just flowing through the TV and hitting me. There's a couple scenes in there that you know, you see like the first like 2 seconds of it, and then all of a sudden it clicked in my head. I'm like, I remember this.
yeah,
like when he gets his hand blown off at the end, like that was a moment of
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, something like a gun goes off and something happens. Like that one was a big triggering moment for me. It's just like, whoa. And I will say this though. This is a movie that wasn't as good as I remember it to be. I think it's still a really good movie and I enjoyed watching it. But I remember as a kid just being like, this is one of the greatest movies. Like I really, really loved it. And
Yeah.
watching it this time, I was like, okay, wasn't as good as I used to hype it up as,
Mm.
but it's still pretty decent.
I almost had the opposite. Yeah. So last year when I watched it, I was like riding high. Like I was like, this movie is almost perfect, and I'll get to what's not perfect later. But then this time, I was kind of seeing through the cracks, and then like some things you kind of see some plot hole things here and there, and it's not a perfect film. But I will say, I think the first hour, 45 minutes is close to perfect.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I would say honestly, it's kind of the last like probably the last half hour that you're kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
because the thing is this, like, I try really hard not to overthink movies a lot of times. Like, I never like purposely look for plot holes. I never purposely look for stuff like that.
yeah.
But sometimes there's movies where it's like I kind of can't ignore it because it's a little bit in your face or it's a little too like I don't think it would work like that. No, honestly, I think in terms of like I'm no like pro time travel guy. I don't know everything about it. Unlike Scott here, of course, who I'm sure
You've
has a
only done this once
philosophical
before.
exactly just once before. But like when I was watching it, there was just a few things that I was like, wait, like I don't think it would work like that. I don't think it would work like that because, well, it's really interesting because I feel like this one's a little different in the fact that so he's on the radio talking to the past, and when something happens in the past, it happens in the future, like immediately. There's a lot of different theories about there of how time travel would actually work. The one that always kind of stuck with me, that kind of clicked in my head, was like I think it's X-Men Days of Future Past. When he goes back in time, nothing that happens in this new timeline applies to the future timeline until he returns back to the current timeline. Like I think it's called snap theory is what it's called. So this one, I don't know. In my head, I feel like this kind of has a unique look at time travel in terms of if it happens in the past, it's happening right now in the future. I feel like there's not a lot of movies that do that. But well, I guess Back to the
Yeah.
Future did that. Back
So
to the
so
Future did that.
this is a perfect example of Marty McFly time travel. I like to call this the self-correcting single timeline movie, or time travel movie. So the idea is, if you do something, if you somehow affect something in the past, then it immediately propagates through that whole timeline in the future. There's never any timeline breaks, and what you do in the past absolutely changes the future. So Back to the Future did that. It's honestly, like I said, I love Back to the Future. Like, I don't want to go on record for saying that I don't like Back to the Future because it's 100% not true. As a film, it's great. As time travel, it's fun. That's it. It's not good, right? It's just
Yeah,
like,
no, I get that.
it's just an awesome movie with time travel, and we're good, you know? And I feel like Frequency is like, if you were to take that, in my opinion, weak time travel mechanics thing and bring it to its highest quality, this is probably the best I've seen.
I found it interesting that he kept memories from both sort of branches of his timeline. Like he could remember what it was like before before he saved his dad from the fire, and how it is afterwards. I mean, also just yeah, that concept kind of blows my mind, by the way. The fact that like his dad doesn't die in the fire, so it changes the timeline, and all of a sudden all these memories from the past that the son like quote unquote experience all of a sudden like rush into his head, and he can remember all these memories now. Like that is such a weird
Yeah.
That's hard for me to comprehend, like how that actually works. You know, this fictional thing that is made up. You know, like how that fictionally thing actually works. But it's really strange. I guess they do that with in About Time as well. Actually, when they go back in time and make it so his sister doesn't end up dating that guy, when they come back in time, all of a sudden
She
she's
remembers,
with
yeah.
yeah, she's with a different guy and she remembers everything that happened because of that. That's so strange to me to have memories that you in a sense didn't experience, but you did.
Yeah, actually, putting the two movies side by side, you would be, it would be really easy to say that About Time is similar. First off, About Time is very light-handed on the time travel, even though there's more time travel in it. Like,
Mhm.
there's not actually any time travel in Frequency. About Time is more like a more hardcore time travel where what happened in the past has also happened in the future. And so if you go back in the past and change it, like you are kind of splitting the timeline, but you don't get to hop timelines parallel, right? Like you're
Mhm.
rewriting and creating a different timeline. You're not correcting, it's not a self-correcting happy ending kind of timeline. It's like there are consequences for the time travel and stuff. So I like the hardcoreness of About Time's light-handed time travel more than Frequency's time travel. I haven't gotten to watch the next two time travel movies on our list, so I don't know where they fit in. But you know, there's just like, in my opinion, I just love the mechanics of time travel, and the deepest, hardest to write for are the ones that like they're like Tenet or 12 Monkeys or La Jetée or whatever. You know, these movies that the whole point is it's a predetermined timeline thing that as you jump around, like you're it's like, oh, when I or Harry Potter, you know, Harry Potter, it explores the whole grandfather paradox problems and stuff like that, where, you know, Harry sees this person creating the Patronus across the lake, so he knows that someone can do it, and he's looking for the whole through the whole book for that person so he can feel safe from the problems in the book. And then it turns out he's the one that did it. So did he do it first, or did he see it first? And it's the grandfather paradox, chicken and the egg problem that I think
Mm.
is really, really mentally stimulating for a time travel story. And can you tell a time travel story that's good playing with those time paradoxes? Which I think there's like one particular underplayed scene in Tenet at the very end in the final fight that I go, yes, that is the implication of this whole thing that is never addressed before. And I love the fact that it was just like fully embraced as part of these are the mechanics of traveling forward and backward through time at the same time. So
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, when handled well and no plot holes in the time travel mechanics, I think makes for a better. It's like it raises the time travel movie status, whether or not the movie's any good. So
Mhm.
we didn't have Primer on our list. I mean, it was on my list, and we ended up not choosing it in the random draw. But that movie, I alluded to a couple of times. Like, if this gets picked, like this is a mind bend of a movie. Like, I've watched it 4 times, and I've done like tons of online research and the Reddit threads and all that kind of stuff to try and dissect it. I still don't get it. But I don't get it because they basically just took that deterministic timeline all the way to its logical conclusion, and it made the movie suck, but it's
Mhm.
still incredible because of that. So like, I would never recommend it to anybody other than watch this time travel movie for following their rules right.
I was thinking about like when I saw this movie Frequency for the first time, I was 12 or 13. And like I think in hindsight, I really value the story of this movie and in my development, because like I just remember the scene of they're practicing riding the bike, and then young Jim Caviezel goes up to bed, and then he's looking at his dad out of the window, and he's lighting up a cigarette. And
Mhm.
like I think in my mind, you know, it's back in the 60s, but I think in my mind, like he's like, oh, I don't know if he knows his dad smokes cigarettes.
Mhm. That was the vibe I got. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But then later on, you know, after he saves his dad, he still finds out that his dad dies from cancer from smoking cigarettes. And I remember that, like, just being like, oh my God, like, you don't always have to get murdered to die. It could be because of these choices that you make every single day, whether it's from cigarettes or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but I just remember that like imprinted something in my mind. And then
I remember thinking about that for years, and then later that same sort of idea was reintroduced to me when I watched The Butterfly Effect, which came out in I think 2006. So it was like my senior year of high school. But yeah, I was just like, dude, and that movie has not aged well. Like, it's actually not that great. But the idea and concept behind it is like mind blowing.
Is that Kutcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that one vaguely when it came out.
Yep. Yeah, but just like your choices, it's a mind bender, especially when you're going through like puberty, that age of time, and just like, wait, you could lose your dad and you could lose your mom. You're trying, it's like, what?
Like, wait, what?
Times?
Yeah, like, wait, what the...
Question.
Yeah.
Who was the main character? The son or the dad?
I'm leaning more towards Jim Caviezel, but I think I would have, like, my first reaction is Dennis Quaid's character.
Why?
Because he's handsome, dude.
I'll answer that question, but I want to say this. Dennis Quaid is so cool and is like the perfect father in this whole film. Like,
absolutely.
When he shows up, like, it's like, okay, he's a firefighter. He rides a motorcycle. He wears aviators. He has a leather jacket. He understands that his wife is tired and had a stressful day, so he's going to spend time with the kid. He teaches him to ride a bike, plays baseball. I mean, the best way to make
dances with his wife in the kitchen.
Exactly.
He uses a ham radio.
And he's got that shit-eating grin.
he's dancing with his wife in the kitchen, and his son's like, "Hey, come here, check how awesome my parents are compared to yours." You know, like, which is so funny to me.
I wrote that down. I was like, kids don't do that. They're like, ew, nasty. Yeah,
gross.
They're like, dude, check out my dad hamming it up.
I think the reason that in my mind he's the main character is because all the events are happening to him. Like, he's the one going through the fire. He's the one following the serial killer. He's the one trying to stop all this from happening. And his son is kind of like his, I don't think his conscious is the right word, but you know, he's the one talking to him and explaining to him how things are going. And the father is the one that has to actually do the things to stop these killings from happening. You know, that's probably why in my head he's considered the main character to me.
So I mapped this out to the Save the Cat beats, and it doesn't work if it's the son. It only works if it's the dad. The whole script was written around the dad. And I was surprised by that because typically the main character is the one that has the biggest crap happen to them. You know, and then they have to change and grow character arc out of their problem. But Quaid's a really stable character through the whole movie, and stuff happens to him, but he doesn't really change a lot other than stop smoking. Which, I mean, that's a thing, right? It sucks to stop an addiction, right?
Most definitely.
But the kid's problem, like, the kid's just messed up his whole life, and then he grows through it. So in my mind, I was like, oh, like, the kid's got to be the main character. But I think the thing that best cemented it was for the like last, I don't know, 30% of the movie when the ham radio is broken. It doesn't stay there with the kid. It goes to the dad. You see all the events in the past. So it usually, and this is another thing that threw me off, usually in a movie that does a big time jump, is it starts, does the opening intro scene, and then it jumps to the present. And the present day, when the movie was made in 1999, the present day is the canonical time of the movie. And it's you flash back to that thing that was introduced earlier. Marvel does it all the time, you know, like introducing the teenage version of the characters, and then it jumps to who are they today, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But in this case, that wasn't the case. The future is the thing that keeps changing over and over and over, and it's the past that's anchored. And so it really does keep going back and forth, and it kind of felt like, to me, almost like the TV show Fringe, where eventually you're not really sure what universe is the actual universe anymore. You know, it was like they all just kind of blend together, and you're like, is the one that I grew up in the one it started with the actual universe? I don't know.
So do you think that's a positive or a negative in terms of trying to figure out who the main character is? Because honestly, if you think about the son, at least from what I'm recalling right now, I feel like he doesn't have like a very big difference between when you meet him and at the end of the movie. Like, I feel like there's not a large change in him, but there is kind of, you know, now that you bring it up, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, there is kind of this push and pull between like, who are we actually like trying to pay attention to?
Well, like Jim Caviezel's character, he only changes psychologically.
Yeah.
right? He's
Okay.
kind of
I
the
can see that.
mediator between the future or the current and the past. But yeah, you're right. And that, as a kid, like when I think about his character in this movie, like he's boring. But I gotta say, like upon rewatching it, he does so much acting with his eyes in this movie that I didn't remember.
Mhm.
Like there's one scene where he gets choked, or no, he hears his own younger self uh, over the radio talking to his younger self, and
Dude,
his
that
all watery. Dude, there
dude.
there are a few like magical scenes in this movie.
No, yes, the scene where he talks, where the older son talks to his younger self, and then when the son talks to his mother in the past, it was such a unique feeling in my chest. It was just like I don't think I've had a movie make me feel that way in a while, because
Yeah.
it's such a weird concept of, I see posts like this on Reddit all the time. It's like, what would you tell your 20-year-old self, now that you're in your 40s? It's really strange to see it, in a film. It's like, oh, he's actually gets the chance to talk to his younger self. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
live.
the other thing back to the comparisons, I actually kind of like the whole, there's this really big emphasis on baseball in the father's timeline. And that's the quickest way, by the way, to make a father seem like a really good father. If he's really into baseball with his son, like, it's the quickest way for you to be like, see, he's a good guy, he's into baseball and he plays baseball with his son.
Toy
But I
Story
like
2. I'm gonna go play ball with my dad.
exactly. But I like the fact that there's that big emphasis there, and then when it goes into the future, there's a scene where Gordy's son is playing baseball on the TV, like the video game version of it, and I feel like it's a very direct, like, see, the future sucks, like,
Yeah,
kids
I
aren't
agree.
kids aren't playing baseball, they're playing video games with baseball.
And that's why Michael Cera turned out the way he did.
I love that scene where Jim Caviezel and Dennis Quaid are talking back and forth. But he's like, so what are you doing? You a firefighter? And he's kind of breaking the news. He's like, no, I went cop. And he's like, oh yeah, follow baseball? And he's like, no, I don't follow baseball. And he's like, what? he can't even fathom. Like, wait, what? What do you mean? What?
Yeah,
How is that
that
possible?
man,
Such
that's
a New
another
Yorker.
man. That's another scene that kind of hits hard. It's just, like,
I know why.
it's that expectation. It's that, I'm, me as a father, I'm doing my absolute best. I'm trying to do my best to raise my son the, quote unquote, the right way, and what I want his future to be like. And I don't know what the words are. I don't know if I'm gonna say the right words, but I wouldn't say it's disappointing, but it's just like, oh, it's kind of shocking when it's like, oh, my son grew up to be something that I didn't think he would be, or I expected him to turn into this kind of person and he's not. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's it's an interesting feeling for sure.
Yeah. This makes so much sense after watching the movie so many times, but like when they filmed the father-son conversation scenes, they literally just had two different rooms and they recorded it live. So they didn't record separate and then patch it all together. And it's so apparent because like that would have been, it just wouldn't have worked as well. It wouldn't have,
No,
it would have been clunky.
I was actually going to ask that. I was wondering how they did film that, because I'm like, they have to do it live. There's no way, like, doing it, trying to film like, the son doing all of his lines, then the father doing all the lines. I feel like it just takes away, like, it makes it a little more soulless. It just doesn't, the connection between the actors just won't work as well. And if they did pull it off, I'd be really impressed. But that's good. I like that they did it live. It just makes
They
it more
needed a
authentic.
little bit of that
Yeah.
peep show Paris, Texas vibe.
I didn't know if I was the only one thinking about that. I keep mentioning that movie. I'll hold it in. Well, even actually, I wrote in my notes when they both are like on the same team and they're like, "We got to save your mom." I was like, "This is perfect."
Every movie's gonna be Paris, Texas from here on out.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta call out like 5 minutes of corniness. This movie didn't have a lot of corny, if I'm being real. Like it had apparent, this was 1999 filming stuff, and there's just that level of quality and like like this is just a very distinct era of filming, like all eras of filming. So there's that. I'm not talking about that. They're like, when it jumps forward in time and you've got like a few scenes one after another just showing how crappy Jim Caviezel's life is.
Yeah.
All of the dialogue was just like the most canned scripted stuff, and it was just like, how do we convey he has relationship issues? I've been leaving for 6 months and you haven't noticed. I'm sorry, babe. You know, I was like, what? This is like a not amazing play, you know, right there. Just made me go like, oh, these did not land as solid. They're like, how few seconds can we dedicate to this to get what we need? Okay, we're done. Moving on.
Pretty much. Hey, everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show. See, for me, kind of the corny scene for me was when he goes into the fire that is supposed to kill him. Which, by the way, actually the scene where he goes in, where he's like, "Oh, I'm supposed to die in this fire." I'm like, dude, he's like a perfect firefighter. You know, he's like, it doesn't matter. The corny part for me was when he makes the decision to go the other way. And I don't know why, but he throws his helmet out the window. Like I really did not understand that. I was like,
I know why.
Like, you need that though. That's kind of important. And then he jumps on, and apparently there's this giant slide inside of this warehouse that he just slides down in this big circle and then shoots right out. I'm just like,
all right.
Like, what warehouse is this?
Me and Ren are gonna put you in your place.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna start. Of course, there's a giant slide in it. He's a firefighter, and it's a bean factory. Done. No, there's nothing else there. All right,
bean
Ren,
factories need slides, especially in a circular motion.
And yeah, the slide was not like slanted enough, so I know like they like pulled him from a rope when they filmed that. Like you can tell it's like sped up. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so about
shooting on his bum.
So I looked up the throwing the helmet out is actually like very common standard practice for firemen. So if you're up in a building, the people down on the ground don't know where the hell you are. So they do that as like, hey, I'm over here. But then he finds the escape hatch. It's basically just like, I'm safe, or come help over here.
It was pretty incredible that on that little like horizontal slide, he was able to go down faster than his helmet.
Yes. Hey, jokes aside though, that editing in that scene
is great.
Is freaking
it's so true.
There's I don't know if there's 2 or 3 different sequences, but
as we're watching it right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Harrison.
You're fine
this time.
You're good. No worries.
So there's this one where he escapes the bean factory and it's got the helmet flying. You got the shot glass falling.
Oh yeah.
You got the slide going down, and it's channeling back and forth from past to current, and then it changes the current.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's
okay,
so cool.
His smile right there.
Yeah,
when he's like, when he drops the glass, they're like, whoa, you all right? And then he's just got this big like dopey grin on his face, like, my dad didn't die, did he?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
All these memories are coming flooding into his head.
So I have in my notes that I don't know what it means, but I think it's from the scene. I just wrote down, "Whoa, that was a weird thing that happened to his eye," but I can't remember what it meant. Is it like zoomed in on his eye and something happens? Like, I can't remember what it was, but I wrote that down and I was like, I don't know what that means. But
we should just try to pick some more cinematography movies.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do some, like, I was watching the short you put up the other day about Metropolis, and I don't know why I've never watched Metropolis. It's been on my list for like 20 years.
Right, because it came out in 1924.
But that's a strong recommender. Remember?
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't watched it, but like the fact that it's being mimicked, and I don't know, the shorts you've been putting up have been killing it.
Cool.
Killing it. So I've been like, oh yeah, these are beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, we need some cinematography snuff.
There you go.
That's right.
I also didn't rememr that this movie turns into like a murder mystery.
Okay, so let's rewind to me. What's my experience of watching this movie?
Yeah.
All right, so I'd never seen this movie. I didn't know it existed.
Till when?
Till I got married.
Okay.
And Paige told me to watch it a couple of years ago, and I swear I sat down to watch it. Because I remember basically the first like 20 minutes of the movie. And then I was like, I mean, it was good. I mean, it was cool talking to his dad and stuff like that, but I couldn't remember anything else about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched the movie.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep watching the movie.
I genuinely, like, I was like, okay, I'll rewatch this movie and like see for what it was and everything. And I sat down and got past the stuff that I remembered, and I was like, this is a murder mystery?
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh. And like the murder mystery stuff was actually really good.
Yep.
And then I feel like then it got to the end where they're like doing their simultaneous fight in the past and present, and like over the radio, the same dude's beating them both up, and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really cool. This is really cool. And then it ended with Dennis Quaid coming around in the future. And it was like,
Old man Dennis Quaid.
this is the perfect script for the end of this movie. Like, this could not end any other way. And I was like, I don't know. It was a great ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got all sappy and stuff.
Let's just talk about the ending a little bit, because
It's
this
something
movie, like I said, it's like almost perfect in a few different areas. And I think I've put it together. So this movie is directed by, Gregory Hoblit. I kind of looked into the other stuff that he's done, and a lot of it is TV directing. Knowing that makes sense. Like, this movie is like sweet and it tastes great. It looks good, but it's like an artificial sweetener.
Like a late 90s TV show.
Yeah.
Like a late 90s soap opera.
It's like Splenda.
It's like one scene is dark and rainy and sad, and the other is like warm and glow.
Yep.
Back
Yeah.
and forth, like Hallmark Channel.
It's so true. No, that's kind of
This
why I
is
brought up.
Queens. It's not going to be that sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. Well, no, that's why I brought up Dennis Quaid's character, like, kind of early on, is he is like the most idolized, ideal, like, father, basically. And I think that's part of the reason why it does kind of have, like you were saying, that artificial kind of sweetener to it. It's just like, oh, this is the idealized life. And then we're going to go to the future where it's darker, it's grimmer. He's sad, he's going through all this crap, but then we're just going to make the past better. Like, it's just better the way it is. And then, but yeah, the ending is pretty sappy.
So, would you guys say that this feeling is probably the largest undercut for the Untouchables? Like, if the Untouchables had been less, like, I don't know, polished, sanded or something, that it would be stronger, because the themes and like the content of the Untouchables is really dark, but it's got the 1969 like glow and polish to every scene.
I know what you mean. Like, all the cars are perfectly polished. Everything's bright and in perfect condition, and it's like kind of what you're.
Sounds grungy.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like I grew up and I love the Untouchables, but having watched a whole lot more movies as part of Cinema Slime, I'm like, I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
But it's not as like masterpiece as I remember it, I guess.
Interesting.
Like when I put it side by side, and now that we're like, what, 19, 20 episodes in or whatever it is. And I think that was our first, right? That was our first movie.
Yeah. Untouchables
And I think
was our
it
first movie.
Like, I'm really glad that it was the first, because I don't know that I would have had the same things to say about it had I watched other movies first, I don't know.
I see what you mean.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. The more, because the more movies you watch, the more comparisons you have. The more comparisons you have, the more you can look at us, and maybe you can realizations of like, oh, nostalgia definitely pushed the movie up in my mind. I remember it, things like that. And then, yeah, just the more you watch, the more you have in your head, and the more you rank films in your head. So
you also start to realize like how much is like stolen from the greats.
Yes.
Like, that's what the best directors do. They just like, oh, I'll sample that. I'll take a little bit of that. I'll take that out and mix it with this. There you go.
Well, once again,
It's
I
its
mean,
own thing.
we keep coming back to the same directors and stuff like that. That's what I love about Tarantino, is like, he's such a movie nerd that he's watched every movie you haven't and knows why it was good.
Yeah.
And then he puts it in his own movie, and it feels like unique and experimental, but it's only unique and experimental because he integrated it into his movie so well that it's like, okay, well, it wasn't he stole it. It was an homage because it's Tarantino. He respects it, and that's why he mimicked it.
Yeah. A little love letter.
To bring it back to the ending of this film, Frequency, so it's a little sappy at the end. It's a little too wrapped up in a perfect box that everything's fine. So one thing that I found interesting about Time was that one thing I said was they don't show you everything. They don't explain everything. You just kind of keep going with the film. This, for some reason in this movie, when we got to the end and all of a sudden Dennis Quaid is alive and he comes and saves his son, it's sort of like he comes in, saves his son, and then it's like, all right, everything's good. we're not going to worry about the fact that he's still alive and that changes the entire timeline. It's fine. We're just going to go play baseball. We're going to dress up Dennis Quaid as an old man, which I think they did a decent job of. And we're just going to end the movie. it just,
And he like hobbled around the bases.
yeah, his little man, like old man hobble around there. So yeah, for me, the ending felt a little flat. I think that's part of the reason I had the reaction of like, oh, it's not as good as I remember. Because as a kid, you love those happy endings, but for me, it was just like, it just didn't land very well for me.
Okay, here's how I felt because I agree with you. So he saves his dad, he saves his mom. You get the Garth Brooks song, and then Jim Caviezel has a kid because he didn't have the trauma of losing his dad. So it's almost like it's too good. Like the ending was too good, and like I keep thinking of just like Splenda on top of your ice cream.
Yeah, okay. This is simultaneously what works and what doesn't work about a self-correcting Marty McFly timeline. All right? The worst part about Back to the Future is when he goes back to his present day and his mom and dad are sexy and cool authors and Biff is this dopey
car detailer.
Detailer. Like, what a crappy career.
Put a bullet in it. I would never do that.
And it's like his brother's not in jail, his girlfriend's exactly the same.
Yep.
It's like, but Marty McFly is not changed at all.
And his brother and sister are like way more successful.
Yeah, like stuff. It's like, what? Like, what about, the theme about time was don't time travel because the little things matter. Every little horrible things that happen in your life and the good things all add up to who you are. We talked about this with Detroit Rock City. We've talked about this multiple times because those are the things that make a movie impactful and powerful. And then you've got a time travel movie that flirts with all of the bad stuff and different parallel opportunities and stuff. But in the end, it's like, what's the most perfect Hollywood ending we can wrap this up in? And I just don't like it. And that's why I think it's just the weakest timeline. What it does do, though, is it creates stories that you can't tell if it was a predetermined or split timeline kind of story. Like, this story couldn't have been told, and this story was good. But it's like the temptation is too strong to make it perfect, to have whatever the Denzel Washington time travel movie is where it he solves the murder or what Deja Vu. That movie's great. And then the last scene, I was like, dang it. It's too perfect. And everything, all the struggles to get there never happened. And so it doesn't hit you as hard. And so anyway, I think that this movie is a flawed masterpiece because it couldn't have been anything other than it is. And then because we don't have any like pure deterministic movies like the hardcore timeline ones, the downside of all of those is that if you start the movie and it ends sad, then the movie's going to end sad because it happened. And so how do you have I'm like on this like Don Quixote hunt to slay the windmill dragon of how can you tell a deterministic timeline story that has everything horrible like it should at the beginning of a story is predetermined, one single it happened timeline, and then in the end it still feels strong and good and solid even though the events never changed at the end.
Yeah.
Soapbox man, I gotta get off this thing.
There you go.
Dude, let it all out, man.
So this is why I don't think the ending works very well in this movie. Okay, ready?
Okay.
So one of my favorite scenes in this film that I didn't realize as a kid was the reason that the serial killing keeps happening. And the reason it happens is because when Dennis Quaid's character survives, his wife goes to work that day. And when she's at work that day, she catches the mistake of the doctor and swaps out the meds. And that's the serial killer.
Yeah.
And that's why he's alive, and that's why it continues. So I've already had it established in my head that, this event that happened changed a lot. It changed so much. Like 10 more people died because of this, It has these huge consequences. And then there's little scenes like when they hide the wallet. That was a big that's a very small thing, but it leads to a big impact because it gives the son information that leads to him finding who the serial killer is. But when you get to the ending of the film, it's like, oh, Dennis Quaid is still alive. He shows up, and you're like, oh, that's a huge thing. That's like what, 15 more years on his life? That's gonna have a big impact. And then the ending wraps up so neatly that you're like, oh no, it didn't have a big impact. So I don't know. I feel like the film sets you up like all these little decisions, all these little things lead to bigger things. And then at the end, it's like there's a huge thing that changes, but it didn't change anything actually. Everything just ends up being fine. So I think that's part of the reason the ending doesn't work because they sort of just gloss over the fact that a whole human being was on the earth for 10 plus more years without it changing it. So I think that's why it didn't work.
Are we assuming that Dennis Quaid and Jim Caviezel?
Yeah.
Jesus, just
Jim.
pronounce Jesus. Yeah.
Jesus. I was gonna say the Count of Monte
Jim.
Cristo. But...
Got you there.
I love it.
Such a good movie.
Are we assuming that they're the only two people that remember both timelines?
I'm assuming yes. Because
or I guess Dennis Quaid only has one timeline, but he remembers talking to his future son, and then Jim Caviezel remembers all 9 timelines. So he's a tortured soul the rest of his life?
Yeah. He's
pretty much.
Genius.
There's this concept in my head of time travel that I'm like, of the concept of the main character in timeline movies, where it's like, oh, like when Wolverine goes back in time, he's the main character of this new timeline. Like everything revolves around him. Like this is a very half-baked theory, like Ren usually does, so we should be used to this by now. Like in my head, it's just so weird to think about. It's like, oh, like all this time travel is revolving around this one person, and he is determining everything. And how does that affect everything? How much of an impact is this having on the whole entire planet based around this one main character? I don't know. It's so mind-boggling to me. Also, I think the concept also of like Dennis Quaid's character, like I don't know, like he's talking to the future, and then he's like, "Oh, I have to wait like 15 years for this to happen to me." The concept of him having to wait and knowing what's coming. The other thing that's tough about this movie for me is like, how did they not take more advantage of this time travel mechanic? Like, I feel like they could have altered so much more things, but they seem to be very
ethical
time travel. It's just like in About Time. They're very ethical time travel.
So I feel I was gonna bring this up. In About Time, they're ethical time travelers because they're boring.
Yes, they're awkward.
In this movie,
they're awkward.
In this time travel movie, they're ethical time travelers because they're highly moral.
Yes,
like
he's a firefighter and a cop.
There's no consequence. It's not even broached. It's not like it's like. But funnily enough, both movies address like getting rich by knowing stuff in the past. And in About Time, it was like, don't do it. It's bad. Your uncle killed himself because of it. And in this movie, it's like, hey, Gordo, go write down Yahoo.
Dude, okay, the part that really frustrated me, so that scene when he tells Gordo like, hey, write down Yahoo, the scene right before that is, I think, when they find out like, oh, 10 more girls just got killed because of what we did, because we changed the past. And then he has the great idea of like, well, I'll just tell him to invest in Yahoo, he'll become a millionaire, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen because of that. It's like he's freaking out about changing the past, and he just like, oh, I'll just change it again.
So there's this really common theme in time travel stories that it's like, don't tell past people stuff they don't need to know because of that butterfly effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because chaos theory. We're watching the scene right now where they're connecting and talking for the first time, and Jim's like
magic,
talking about it's I don't know, they're talking about everything all night long, and that's exactly what you do. Of course you do that. Because you don't have any consequences. It's not like someone came in and said, don't ask questions. Safety not guaranteed. Grab your gun. We're going. Like nobody said that. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to my dad who died when I was 10. Like, or 6 years old or whatever. Like, of course I'm going to sit and cry and sob and tell him everything and get all of his advice and wish that he was here and I could hug him or be hugged by him. Of course you do that. But like, it's fun that they tied the whole World Series, like convincing people that you know the future as a like script, like plot device. I think that was clever, But like, once again, going to what you said, Harrison, there's so much that he told his dad in the past about the future.
That scene where they edit where he, the sergeant guy is really skeptical about him talking to himself in the past, and he's like getting coffee with his wife.
And then he goes
he's talking about. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. The scene was so funny to me because it's like, I'm gonna come tell you that your husband is a serial killer that's killed 12 women. By the way, and he's like dancing around this, and she starts to get like, she gets the like face washed, like the adrenaline kicked up, and she like is about ready to like vomit because she's learning all this horrible stuff. And he's like, hold on a sec, hold that thought. I'm gonna go watch the World Series for a little bit. And then he turns around and he's like, ah, like a big old dopey grin, like, and she's like, are you for real right now?
It's like what you just did. Yeah, no, it's
the concept is so wild, but without the editing, like I wouldn't buy it if it wasn't edited so well, I think. But yeah, you're totally right. It's ridiculous. It's for some reason I forgive it. But
yeah.
If he had been like, hold on a sec, this might exonerate your husband.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch the World Series for a second, and she'd be like, what are you talking about? But okay, I'll wait for you. That would have landed so much better than like, by the way, look, it's the World Series.
There's a cool little detail. After I think he like climbs out of the water after he pulls the bad guy by the ankle through the dock. But as he climbs out, then you can hear the city and everyone's cheering because they won the game. I was like, oh,
yeah,
that was cool.
That was well done.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's sweet.
I didn't catch that.
And just like Shredder, he just will not die underwater.
Nope.
Yeah.
I forgot about the fake out death scene. That was the one scene that I was watching, and I was like, I do not remember this as a kid. Like this whole section, it flew out of my head for whatever reason.
There was one other detail too. I wrote this down, but when so they're in the interrogation room, the murderer kind of has them, or he's like talking to him, and then they get interrupted, right? Then the murderer leaves, and then Dennis Quaid sets that little booby trap. I was like, this is a really good idea because he pours the coffee, somehow puts a wire to it, and then when he gets electrocuted, sets off the sprinklers, and the water would erase the evidence. And I was like, oh, dude, that's such a smart idea.
Actually, I thought it was great the number of times that Dennis Quaid did something. I was like, he knows how to do that because he's a firefighter.
Exactly.
He broke into that house because he's a firefighter.
Yep.
He knew how to climb down that ladder really quick because he's a firefighter.
Everyone loves him because he's a firefighter.
Dude, I'll tell you what though, I love his shit-eating grin when he throws that wire. Like when he walks in, he's just got this look. He drinks his coffee, and he's just like, bam, and I'm just like, damn you.
Yeah.
I will say, I think they did a pretty dang good job. So the actor, was it the serial killer's name is Jack, I believe, and
Jack Shepard. Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, wait, did Jack Shepard kill his mom? I couldn't.
Unclear. My headcanon is no.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say, I think they did a pretty good job because he played the past and the future of himself. I'm like 99% sure. I'm not seeing
definitely
a different one. I think they did a pretty good job of aging him up and aging him down.
Yeah.
I loved his hair. I loved his hair when he was younger, by the way. That like
I loved his hair in both times.
Hair.
Like he was just a creepy normal dude.
Yeah.
So I was actually, we were talking a little bit because you were saying all I remember about Frequency is the bad CGI in the beginning when the flames like shoot out of the sewer.
What? I think that was pretty dang good.
Okay, Harrison, you go watch it like 4 times in a row.
Watch it again.
It's pretty.
I'm gonna watch
pretty
it again.
cheesy.
Look, we got some bad
Independence Day. It's like Independence Day level of fire. Okay.
I'm gonna watch it again. I don't believe you. There's some bad CGI at the end that I want to bring up, but I thought the fire explosion at the beginning, I was like, damn, that was pretty sweet.
All right.
He's got his strong hand growing back. It's like
it's like a little Deadpool, like prepubescent little baby hand.
Okay, now that we're talking about it, so the whole scene of him losing his hand and the house like morphing into a totally different house because the whole future changed. So so here we go. You ready for my thought process? I watched it and I was like, I watched it and I was like, that wasn't that good. like the couch like morphing into a shorter one, all that stuff going on. I was like, that wasn't very good. And then I had the remembrance of like, oh, I remember I watched Willow before we started this podcast. Right before we started, I watched Willow. and there's a lot of animal transformation morphine scenes happening in that movie. And I was like, you know what, for back then looks pretty good. And then I looked up a bunch of background information about it, and it was like, oh, like this movie kind of like really pushed that the whole morphine like CGI moment. They really pushed to get that so that it would look good in this film. And I was like, I mean, this scene in Frequency and that scene in Willow are pretty similar. And I was like, oh, wait, what's the difference between like when those movies came out? And I was like, this came out in 2000. I was like, oh, Willow came out in 88. So that's, it was just funny. I was like, oh, that's a pretty big difference. It wasn't even close. So
Well, if you don't see the bad CGI fire, then you can surely see every time they look at the pictures of like their past.
The one that keeps changing.
Dude, yeah,
that was so bad.
The bad photoshopped faces. Some of them made me cry.
Dennis, the shot of like the whole fire department, and then Dennis Quaid is just in the corner, like just his face is like perfectly like viewable. It's like all smooth and everything, and everyone else is just like this grungy, just like dirty face. Like,
we gotta do a collection, a film of just like bad Photoshop, like family photos from movies, because this is the first of many. I've seen it in many different movies, but we could collect those as we go along.
Okay, so have you guys watched Looper?
No,
I have not seen Looper. I've heard really good things about it.
Yes.
Okay, so not on our list, but you guys should watch it. It's got a very similar self-correcting timeline kind of thing going on here, though meaning propagating through time type thing, that something happens in the past and something happens in the future, and the whole like limbs disappearing stuff like is done very well in that movie. Spoilers.
Yeah.
I just had a couple other little just kind of like random notes I wrote down. They had a lot of really good scenes that I felt like were pretty clever for people who knew that they could communicate and how they could do it. Like I really like the scene where he wood burns that message to his son in the table because he knows his son still has that table. I thought that was really cool. I actually want to know how they filmed that, like how they made the wood burn while he was looking at it. Like you saw it live. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was high quality CGI.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Same with like the wallet thing. Though I will say, so they hid the wallet, and in my head, I'm like, he didn't empty the wallet. Like he didn't like take his like driver's license out of the wallet before he put it in there. So I don't know. It was just funny to me. Another little fun fact I found. I was scrolling through Reddit, just kind of looking at reviews, seeing if I can find any fun facts. And one of them was some guy was mentioning, some guy posted up and he's like, I really like the fact that this movie really features in like ham radios. I think that's, it's a cool hobby that's not very popular, but it's still pretty awesome. And he said like the one big problem with that is the ham radio that they use in the film is a Heathkit radio, and that's only a receiver. You can't actually talk through it. So and like only like people who are really into ham radios will know that, but it bothered me. But
ruined it.
But it looked really good on the desk. It did look really good.
All right, so I got one more nerdy thing. So this movie, I always try to compare, like, is there some other movie that did a similar kind of time travel or whatever? And one thing that I think they captured and did really well was that the two Aurora Boreali, that's a plural, Aurora Borealis?
Yeah, I think you got it right.
All right.
Nice.
So
totally.
The two of them last the exact same amount of time in the past and the future. And then they both just kind of simultaneously occur along. So you're waiting for the past day to occur for the present day to propagate, right? So then that allows for the fire to burn the table in the past and simultaneously create that there. But then when the mom dies in the past, they have to wait for that day in the past to get there, and also the day in the future to get there for her to be dead. So they both have the exact same amount of time for her to be dead, for them to be this timeline they're working under. So I'd never seen that before in a movie, but there's this video game. It's a real-time strategy game under the the genre of like Age of Empires and stuff, or StarCraft. It's called Akron. It is a really, really, really hard RTS, because not only are you playing just like a decent RTS game in space, but you also have a timeline across the bottom that you can jump back in the past and change events. And then those timeline events, you can see them like propagate up forward across that timeline. And so if you like, it's like you jump back it's like you're here, then you jump back in the past, and then you destroy their base here. then that base being destroyed in the past will propagate up to the future across a certain amount of time. And so you have enough time to jump back to the future to deal with it, or the other player has time to like, well, this time maybe I can jump back before you now that I know that you did it. But you have to also be looking on the map through time, not just the map in the present.
Yeah, my
Anyway,
brain just
it's really,
exploded.
really, really, really hard. And it gets hard. Like, you can't jump back further without using more like time travel juice, stuff like that. So it's like the further back you go, you can't, it's not like you can god power back to the beginning of the match over and over and over like that.
Yeah.
That's limited resource or whatever. But I just thought it was really interesting seeing a film storytelling version of that, and then also having played that RTS mechanic in the past. And it made it land really well in this movie for me, because I knew, like, I had it deep in my bones, the like how that physically could work, kind of like I dinked around with it like a toy. So those two parallel timelines in this movie being synced up for the duration of the Aurora Borealis was, I don't know, I just loved that for the script writing. I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
Actually, before we get to you, Ren, so the whole concept of the film is that there's this like weird Aurora Borealis thing, and it's messing with radio signals and everything. I was just curious, like, do you guys need stuff like that explained in movies for you to enjoy it? Or is it one of those things where it's like, if the movie was just like, yeah, there's this one in the sky and it's causing radio frequencies to go back in the past. Anyways, let's get to the movie. Like, is that fine with you? Or are you like, no, you need to spend a little time explaining to me why this.
I was just going to say, when you were going through the plot holes in my head, I was like, well, it's the Aurora Borealis is going on. So I guess that's that's your answer, right?
Yeah. For me, I don't need it, but I think I'm probably a minority. Like, I know more people would like an explanation to ground it in reality, but like, if I'm watching a movie, I already know I'm letting go of reality. So like, let their rules be their rules, and I can decide whether I like them or not.
I think it helps if I like want that rule to be real. Like, if that could happen, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
So for me, I think I've said it before, like I don't purposely look for plot holes and need explanations a lot of the times, but I think it really depends on when the explanation happens in the film. Like, if it happens at the very beginning, it's way more easy for me to be like, okay, that's the concept of the movie. Sweet, let's get to the movie. But if it comes at the end and it's like, oh, this is the reason all this stuff happened. It's like, well, hold on, like that doesn't explain everything that happened in the film. It's like, it's like watching a movie and then at the end it's like, oh, it was aliens. Like aliens just showed up and that's why all this weird stuff was happening. It's like, oh, well, if I knew that, like it makes everything before that just be honestly like, okay, so we get explained why this is happening because of the Aurora Borealis. Take that info and put it at the end of the movie. And you'd probably be like, well, that's a dumb reason. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But at the very beginning, you're just like, okay, cool. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is. Ooh, I wonder why that is. Why is it?
I think my caveat to what I said before is if they try to hand wave it at the end by introducing something, then that's bad script writing. If they don't talk about it at all and you need to infer it, then that's a choice.
You know what it is? I feel like if they take the explanation of why the radio waves are going to the past and tack it at the end, it almost feels like they wrote the script and they're like, crap, we need to cram something in to explain this. But if you put it in the beginning of the script, it's kind of like, we have this really cool idea. I guess we need a reason. Let's throw it at the beginning of the film. This is why this is happening. Now let's get to the movie. Yeah. Interesting. I'm going to brew on that a little more, actually. I like this.
Marinate on it.
Well, Ren, final thoughts before we get to our slimiest scene.
I'm just glad this is a hidden gem of a film, and I'm just glad that I grew up watching it. Yeah, that's really the only closing idea I have. I'm glad I watched it. I think it influenced me and kind of challenged you to think about things that you normally wouldn't. But yeah, like what you said, like they had to use the current time and the past correlating with one another to tell a certain type of story. And this movie's awesome. It's often not kind of included in like great sci-fi films like The Matrix or even like Inception and stuff like that. But I believe it should be. It's like the second tier of those movies, but there's so many good things about it that I just don't think it should be omitted. But I enjoyed it. And I'll say the slimiest scene for me, it might be the guy's hand getting shot off. But I also, I don't know. I love, when I first think of this movie, I think of the Northern Lights kind of fading and then those edits. And then the next thing you know, the time changes just to kind of show the time going back and forth, those 30 years between the father and the son. I think that's cool. But what about you? What sticks out the most? Which scene?
Yeah, Harry, take it.
For me, I think it's the moment that the mother saves him in the hospital, mainly just because I didn't catch that as a kid. I never really understood why the serial killing kept happening because I was just a dumb kid. But it really just kind of puts a strong emphasis on the fact of like little decisions like that can change everything in your whole life. And one thing I wrote down in my notes was like this movie really emphasizes the fact that every single person on this planet like has an effect on it. Like so many things can change just from your decisions every single day, just from living. That was a really strong, impactful moment for me was when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I might say something like the theme of this movie is that. I think you nailed the deeper theme of this movie is that we really do need to live with the consequences of our actions, but it's not like the consequences are always bad or our decisions are always bad. It's just there is a cause and effect in life. And sometimes you do a good thing and the ripple effect is a bad thing. And sometimes you do a good thing and the ripple effect is a good thing. It's like the anti-karma. It's like cause and effect occurs, but it doesn't matter the morality of it per se. So yeah, and I would say my slimiest scene would probably be that same one because it so subtly captures the theme of the movie. Or when Dennis Quaid comes around the corner with a shotgun as an old guy. Because I was like, what else would you write right there? That has to be the conclusion.
Totally, yeah.
Needs to be. One thing thinking about that. So the reason that he's alive is because he decides to stop smoking. Like he crushes that cigarette, thing and throws it away. This movie is basically like an anti-smoking ad, by the way. Like it's really funny to me. It's just interesting the fact that Dennis Quaid made that choice right then of like, I'm going to stop smoking now. And now all of a sudden he's alive in the future. I think that really kind of puts an emphasis on the fact like, sorry.
Smoking. I didn't notice it before, but his son is smoking.
Yeah. But I just think it's interesting that the fact that Dennis Quaid, like he made that decision and, it's like his fate is in his hands. He's the one who has to choose to stop smoking so that he doesn't die of cancer in the future. It wasn't his son telling him like, you need to stop or you're going to die. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z so that you stop smoking. It's like he made that decision.
Wait. No, we're rewatching this, and you're right. Jim Caviezel chain smokes throughout the whole movie, but then he's telling his dad, "Yeah, cigarettes got to you." So maybe I feel like there might be like something they wrote out of the story that like maybe he decided to quit also. I don't know. I never caught that till just now.
I bet you. Look, like the ending happens real quick. We know it a lot, but I wonder the fact that he smokes all the time is because his dad smoked all the time, and now that his father's alive, because he stopped smoking, I wonder if that means that Jim Caviezel's character doesn't smoke anymore. Anyways.
I don't care if that's the intention. That's my new headcanon. Yeah. I love that. That's pretty sweet.
I like that.
Cool. Just be a perfect father and have no vices. Just
exactly.
I just want to say.
Yeah.
Pretty easy, people. Come on, we can be better.
Come on.
Don't overcomplicate it, guys. Last thing I had a list here, just real quick. Can we just go over this?
Yeah.
The year 2000 has a lot of really good movies, and I wrote down a list of these are all the ones I've watched in the past couple of years. My Dog Skip. Anyone seen that? Awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Family Man. Scary
Dad's
Movie.
favorite.
Gladiator. American Psycho. Remember the Titans. Have you guys seen Billy Elliot?
Oh, that sounds. Ooh, hold on. That sounds
one of my
so familiar.
absolute favorite movies. Castaway, The First X-Men, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Road to El Dorado, Titan AE, Final Destination, Chicken Run. I was just going through the list, like, dude, this year was insane.
I feel like video games 2000 was a really good year too. Hold on.
Was that so it's N64 era?
Let's see.
It's definitely PlayStation.
Okay, hold on here. Best video games of the 2000. Let's see. Okay, in 2000, some of the more popular games then: Diablo 2, Perfect Dark, Final Fantasy 9, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, The Sims, like
Oh man,
Counter-Strike, Resident
I can
Evil,
remember
Code
the computer we had
Veronica.
at this
I don't
time.
know about that one. Paper Mario. Man, oh, dude, yeah, 2000 was a banger for video games too. Holy crap.
Tony Hawk 2.
I just remember
Yeah.
like the week leading up to Y2K and being like, dude, what are the clocks gonna do? Like, what if we don't download this like update? What's gonna happen to everyone's computer? All computers are gonna crash at midnight.
Yeah.
And like,
Gear
I
Metal Gear Solid.
Dude, I had no concept of Y2. Actually, now that I think about it, I was just like,
Oh really?
oh.
Yeah, I remember being
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's like
I
the
don't remember it
first
at all.
time. That was like the first of 34 like end of the world scenarios that I would become aware of in my life.
I just remember. I mean, my experience with Y2K was Cartoon Network's little cartoons making fun of it, leading us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Let's make light of this situation. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, here, just to wrap up to give our ratings for the film. So Frequency, kind of like we talked about, it's definitely a film that I remember watching as a kid and really loving it. It didn't live up to kind of my expectations of what I remember it to be, but I think it's still a solid film. I think it has a very great idea. They actually I looked into it. They made a 1-season TV show based around this movie, which I'm actually kind of interested in looking at. Apparently, it's pretty decent.
Is it Frequencies?
I can't remember if it's Frequencies or just Frequency, but it's just like it's like one season, but I've heard it's pretty decent. But yeah, I think the idea is really good. I would say some of the weaker parts of the film is the ending, and I think the characters are, I wouldn't say flat, but I feel like there's just not a lot of shift and change as to who they are from the beginning to the end. So it just felt kind of I guess flat is the right word, but it sounds really a little harsh.
It's so funny that, can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah,
it's so funny that we all kind of agree with that. Like the ending is like, but the ending is so good that it is flat.
Yeah.
That's so weird. It's like sincerity in art is important. And I just feel like they just like, Garth Brooks, give him a kid. He saves both parents. They just shove it down your throat, and it's so weird.
Well, here's another thing. Okay, at the very beginning of the film, I've mentioned this twice already, but like, we see Dennis Quaid and it's like the perfect father, the perfect life, everything's great. And then the end of the film, everything's perfect, everything's happy, everyone's playing baseball. The beginning and the end of the movie are basically the same. So it might make the middle of the film feel flat. Well, we're just coming up with every reason why the ending is bad.
Okay. So it's interesting you said that, Harrison, because if you look at the theory of the Save the Cat structure, the whole point is that the opening image is there to show the flaws of the main character. But there were no flaws in the main character in the opening image, because the final image has to be a mirror reflection of the ideal character growth version of that main character. And the final is good, but there was no growth. It's like it all happened in between because he accidentally went the wrong way in a fire, being a perfect person.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why this movie just didn't really live up to what I remember when I was younger. That being said, I really great things in this, especially just the whole concept of the film. So in terms of a rating, like if 2.5 is an average, I think it's above that for sure. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 and feel pretty good about that. And I think I'm still gonna, even though it's a 3.5 for me, I won't be shocked if I still watch this again, and I'm still gonna recommend it to people, even though it is a little flat.
I would agree with that 100%. I would say this is one of those movies that I agree with everything you just said. I think it's a 3.5 or a 4. It's the best version of this story you could tell. it is an artifact of a late 90s movie with the hallmark sweetness that you don't really see in earlier or later films. Both of them like bookmarking more cynical generations. And so this movie is kind of in that sweet spot of, you know, like the Lord of the Rings could come out and stuff like that. A very sincere era of just like, we want noble, good people as opposed to portraying the underbelly of society because we're so cynical. And I love that vibe, even though I think it's a turnoff too, because it's like we've bashed on the end so much. I don't need to, but I also think that it's good enough that I'll watch this. This will go in my movies to keep on hand and watch when you want a specific vibe or you want to show a movie to somebody or connect with your kids or whatever the case is. Like this movie goes into that category.
Yeah, like I feel like recommending this to a kid like going through puberty like that or just that rough part of life, or maybe he's just kind of disenchanted with his dad, or like maybe he lost a father or something. Like I feel like you could just so a lot of people could watch this movie and have a lot of feelings, but this could really help you if you're going through a tough time with your dad or a relationship or something like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm so grateful I watched this when I did. But that, yeah. So as far as my rating, it's between 4.5. I'll just say like a 4. But yes, I love this movie. I would recommend it to almost anybody, but especially any sci-fi or like time travel like recommendations. This movie is great.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we got to talk about it. And there's just so many little things to this movie that I either forgot, didn't know, or didn't realize. Especially Jim Caviezel just chain smoking the whole time. That's funny. But yeah, I love this movie. It was great. And I'm also excited to talk about our next episode, which is Safety Not Guaranteed. And yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to add?
Just that we got to bring our Halloween theme suggestions for the episode tomorrow.
Yeah, baby. Yep.
I think it's gonna be fun.
Pick a new category. We only get 2. But well, I mean, are you guys gonna do like Halloween themes?
Yeah,
for the most part. Okay.
I want to keep it in the Halloween realm.
The realm. Like, I like that word.
The realm of it, like
without like every movie on your list could be a Halloween movie, but if it has the same vibes but isn't explicitly a Halloween movie, I'm cool with it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of how. So those kinds of categories is where I'm at. If you guys want to,
cool.
you guys do you.
There's no rules.
You can do whatever you want. And I will be extremely happy to do with whatever so I can BS with you guys in the future. So
what about body horror?
I will be less extremely happy if it's body horror, but I'm not going to say no.
We can hold hands. It's all good, man.
Looper's a good body horror.
Okay.
Could just keep the time travel going.
Duly noted. Cool deal.
Oh boy.
All right, that was fun.
Yeah, it's good chatting, guys.
Yeah, have a good rest of the night. Peace and love.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. We hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. Harrison handles the mixing, editing, and production, and Ren, that's me, takes care of the art and design. Want to join the conversation? Let's connect. Find us on Discord for film discussions, movie recommendations, and everything cinema. Be sure to subscribe and leave a comment, and you can also connect with us on social media and show your support on Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes.